Let's get on to the big match, of course, the All-Ireland football final on Sunday. Padraic, when you look at Mayo's display against Tyrone in the All-Ireland semi-final, from your perspective, what did you learn about Mayo?
I think Mayo will learn an awful lot from their semi-final performance, because when Mayo came up to Croke Park in 04 and 06 and last year in the finals, I mean, they've had a terrible start. I mean, the games have literally been over after 15-20 minutes. Like, that's literally because they're playing catch up the whole time, and when you're behind early in the game, like, you find it very hard to implement your game plan that you're trying to get in place for the day. Whereas the semi-final, they had like a poor start against Tyrone, but at least they came through the game, and they have the chance on Sunday to kind of rectify it, you know. Whereas in years gone by in finals, they have to wait 12 months to rectify it. Whereas they would have learned a lot from that scenario as such, you know.
That's a good thing, really, isn't it, from a forward perspective?
Yeah, it is. It's a very good thing, and I think, you know, when you watch the way Tyrone set themselves up, they wanted, they basically defended the D. They didn't want any easy scores against them very early on in the game. If you watch the wides that Mayo kicked, and they kicked quite a few, I think maybe kicked 7 or 8 in the first half, it was all from almost impossible angles. You know, and I think they learned a lot from that, because in the second half they recycled the ball a little bit more. They got it into the areas where they wanted it, where they wanted it in. They opened up Tyrone a little bit, and they were able to implement their game plan on it. And Padraic's right about, you know, the fact that I felt Mayo the last day against Tyrone went out and sort of played the way Tyrone wanted them to play. They dictated the pace, whereas in previous games Mayo had gone out there and just, you know, said about implementing their game plan, but not just that, but to impose themselves in the game and be a different Mayo team than we've ever seen before. And I think in the second half, the last day they did that, Marty, I think they've learned a hell of a lot from that. And I think when James Horan is talking to them this week, you know, I don't think he'll get too wrapped up in tactics. I think he'll want them to go out and play and not leave this behind like they did in the first 6 or 7 minutes the last day.
But as a forward then, Oisín, who would you have the greatest faith in? The Dublin forwards or the Mayo forwards?
I think they're both good sets of forwards. I think you have to hand it to Brogan as well, Bernard Brogan, and that Dublin full forward line the last day. They were very frustrated very early on. I mean, they weren't getting a lot of ball, as Marc will tell you. But for those few chances that they had, and Bernard Brogan kicked a couple of poor wides, but he was able to pick himself up and kick 2 very good scores under severe pressure in the second half, and I think that's a good sign of a forward. But I think this Mayo team has something that it never had before, and that is players that can come off the bench and make an impact. Varley, Conroy and Feeney will all come on and do a similar job to what Dean Rock and McMenamin do for Dublin. They make an impact and they get on the scoreboard early.
And despite that depth of talent that Oisín is talking about on the sideline, Cillian O'Connor is still named in the team. How important do you think Cillian is to Mayo?
Cillian's a very good footballer. Look, he's their top goal scorer this year. I think I'd wonder how much training he's done. I don't think he's hardly trained at all since the semi-final. So how fit will he be? Hard to know. But getting back to the point about Mayo, you know, okay, they've come up in previous years. They haven't really performed in All-Ireland finals. I think we see a different Mayo team this year. I mean, at half-time in the Tyrone match, it was put up against them, but they came out. They had to change their game plan. They did that. So I think we're seeing a different Mayo team. There's the steely edge to them this year that we haven't seen in the past, and I think it's going to be an intriguing battle, because both sets of forwards. They're very strong. You know, they can kick points. Alan Dillon pulls the strings in the half forward line for Mayo. So does Kieran Kilkenny on the other side for Dublin. So it's going to be very interesting. And inside, I think, you know, they're both very strong. Bernard is obviously very strong for the Dubs. I think, you know, he was getting a lot of unfair criticism all year, and you know, he did very well in the semi-final. And you know, he's a fella that can kick points from the left side, from the right side. Mannion did well, he got a goal, you know, so I think they're very potent. Both sets of forwards are very potent.
But when you look at both teams, Mayo and Dublin, they attack from defence. They go forward from their own half-back line, but indeed from their own corner backs at times, as we've seen. Can we expect that toe-to-toe tactics on Sunday?
Well, if you look at the semi-final, the Kerry match, I don't think you would have seen the Dublin half back line attacking as much as they have done in previous games. They were quieter, and yet that has been their strongest line, you could say, all year, and yet Dublin win the match. So from a Mayo point of view, that might be a small bit scary, you know, because that was their quietest line, I think, in the semi-final. Now Mayo are a different side, you know. I think they base their game on their half back line attacking up the field the whole time. You know, I mean, we see Donald Vaughan getting goals, Lee Keegan is getting getting up there, Colin Boyle is getting up there, even Chris Barrett from the full back line, you know. So it'll be interesting how they set up too, because I see if I think if one of the Dublin full forwards comes out, I think Chris Barrett will be detailed to follow him and maybe try and get up the field and get a score as well. So a lot of their attack is based on their half back line.
Yeah, definitely both sides have a similar type tactic, but if I was playing the half back line for Dublin the last day against Kerry, I wouldn't have gone too far forward if I seen Colin Cooper standing beside me. So I think that was kind of the plan, was to stay back. But even when they were staying back, Colin Cooper opened up the defence several times with some key passes, and that's Mayo will take a lot of heart from that as well, you know. But both of them play similar type games, like they're based around like obviously Mayo have got to decide where they're going to push up in the kick-outs from Dublin. Obviously Dublin won't want to lord it out long, because with the two O'Sheas at the form they're in, they'll probably have the edge in midfield, and it's going to be very interesting, like that tactical kind of way how they set up at the start. Like, and obviously when Mayo set up at the start, like with Keith Higgins, it'll be interesting to see where does he pick up, like where does he come back and kind of mind the house for the first 15-20 minutes, so they're still there, give himself a chance kind of to push on, because say fitness wise, like both teams are probably as fit as each other, and probably both like are in good shape. So like I heard someone saying that in the last 10 minutes of the game that Mayo work harder, that they'll be caught for fitness. Like in the current climate, with the amount of training they've done, like inter-county players won't be caught on the third Sunday for fitness, you know.
How about midfield, Oisín? Because we have the two O'Sheas, and we've also got Michael Darragh McCall, possibly Cian O'Sullivan, possibly Dennis Bastick. How do you see that matching up?
Well, I see if Mayo push up on Cluxton's kickouts, which is absolutely essential. I think you looked at Meath, and no disrespect to Meath, I don't think they're even in the top 8, you know, in the country as far as how strong they are. But when they pushed up on Dublin, they made Dublin look very porous, you know, from a defensive point of view. That half back line, the midfield. I don't think Dublin have been really tested in the middle of the field. I'm looking forward to, you know, and I'm looking forward to Mayo actually pushing up and see what that Dublin midfield is made of whenever the ball is, you know, put out into areas that, you know, they have no control over who wins it. And you know, when it comes down to a midfield battle, I haven't seen a better midfield in quite some time. You know, powerful. And Aidan O'Shea takes a lot of the plaudits, and rightly so, because he has it all. He's a great left foot, he's a great passer of the ball, and I think sometimes, you know, that's overlooked. But Seamus O'Shea, over the last couple of games, you know, you have to have a foil in the middle of the field. I mean, when Darragh O'Shea was playing, you know, Seamus Scanlon, who probably as well maybe didn't get a lot of the plaudits, but if you asked Darragh O'Shea who's the most important player, you know, it was that man that was beside him. And I think Seamus O'Shea is absolutely key to the way that Aidan O'Shea plays in the game. Those two boys set the tempo for the way Mayo play their football. And
so at the end of it all, Oisín McConville, are you going for Mayo for this All-Ireland final? In a word.
I don't believe in names being in a cup or anything else, but I feel as if Mayo just get there by a point.
Okay, Mark?
I'll go with Dublin, Marty. I think they're stronger, the better forwards, I think, and I think Macaulay and Cian O'Sullivan were outstanding against Kerry, so I'd be going with Dublin. So
we have a split vote. Padraic Joyce, it's all up to you. Mayo or Dublin, in a word?
I go for a draw, Marty. No, honestly, with being a Galway man, look, you couldn't begrudge Mayo at this stage, and you'd have to wish they'd win it. But deep down, I think that Dublin probably have better marquee forwards to see them through.
So just about Championship Matters gives the votes to Mayo. Almost.